Hello, this is the General once again making a special dish for you guys, and today I'm gonna be making a dish called frijoles de Charro. And the history behind the frijoles de Charro is that when the Mexican cowboys were out in the field and driving the cattle, they would always do at night. You would always make a special dish, and just like when I was in the service. At the end of the day, when the weather was bad and it was just miserable, that hot dish or whatever they made, it just settled in, and man, you felt so good. Same with the charros. They would drive the cattle all day, and then at the end of the day, at the night when they're settling in, they would make the special dish, and a lot of times they would make it out of leftovers, whatever they had. And so today we'll be cooking some charro beans, and then I'm gonna also go into some other special dishes that I add with the charro when I make the charro beans. So it's gonna be a dish that you haven't seen before, and you'll be amazed with it. And it's easy to cook; it's not hard. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna get my beans going right now, and then I'm gonna start prepping everything else. So I have 2 cups of pinto beans right here. Basically, they're very easy to make. I have a rice cooker, and I'm just gonna dump them in the rice cooker, and then I'm gonna add the water to it, maybe a spoon of salt, and just let them cook. And very easy, but I'm gonna keep an eye on my beans because the water does evaporate, and you're gonna have to add water, as you see the water evaporate. Okay, so this is how we're gonna start our dish. Is just basically putting our beans in the pot here and adding the water. And I don't want to add any garlic or anything to my beans right now. I do add onions. When I make my beans, I always add onions, garlic, and the seasoning, salt, and stuff like that. Because I like my food to have a lot of flavor in it. So with the beans, the charro beans, I'm gonna add all the flavor later on. So right now we're gonna get our beans to cook, and that should be it for right now. Along with my charro beans, I'm going to be cooking some lamb chops. And basically, I know the lamb chops, you don't really cook with the charro beans, but I wanted to sort of spice it up a little, beef it up a little bit. So the lamb chops, they go along with charro beans. I know charro beans has meat in it and so forth. But when you make a side dish, I like to throw in some meat, some extra meat, so forth like that. And I thought the perfect combination would be these lamb chops. And basically for the lamb chops, I'm gonna be smoking them outside. So for the binder, you don't have to use any type of binder. You can just go put your seasoning on or whatsoever. But I'm gonna be using this Worcester sauce. And basically just sort of dab it on, and then I'll rub it on both sides. And I'm using it as the binder, For my seasoning, I'm gonna be using the Jack Daniels, which is very good. It goes along with all meats. And you can get it on Amazon, or I think you probably get it. I'm not sure exact the other stores, but I usually order it through Amazon or Bassmaster. So all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna season both sides, and then I'm just gonna let it sit for a while. I'll flip them and then do the same to the other side. And then I'm also going to be sort of I did this in my previous video about my corn, so I'll be throwing some corn and also some nopales, because Mexicans, they love their nopales, and the charros, out being out in the desert and so forth, they were very easy to find and stuff. So we're gonna be, I'm gonna be cooking some nopales, but we're gonna be grilling them. I love to grill food, and I thought it would be a perfect combination, making the charro beans and then also grilling. Okay, so we got that already, and all I'm going to do is just set it aside and more water to our beans. It looks like the beans are almost ready. So as the beans are finishing up, we're now prepping the corn. You guys saw this in my last video that with the corn we're gonna throw on the grill. So what I use is I use some zesty Italians and basically just sort of rub it on the corn itself, and then we're gonna wrap it. We're gonna wrap the corn in foil, and then we'll throw it on the grill. Okay, so we'll just go ahead. I'm gonna finish this one up real quick. And you don't have to throw a lot, because it just gives it a nice flavor of the corn as the corn sort of roasts on the grills. So the foil is just sort of to help it from it not burning or so forth. Now, I do have some nopales, and with the nopales, what I do, and people cook their nopales different, but I love to grill my nopales. So after I wash them, all I do is just sort of cut them up, but I leave them in a sense of, I leave them together and just slice them. And then what I'm gonna do is I'll put a binder on them with maybe some olive oil, and then I'll put some seasoning on that, and then I'll throw it on the grill also. So let me grab my olive oil, and and then basically it's a spray. I'll spray them on there, I'll rub them together. And then now what I'm gonna do is, I love using Johnny seasoning, and I'll just season them up, both sides. And these are ready for the grill. So we'll put those aside. Now, I do have some jalapenos here. And basically on my jalapenos, I'm gonna also throw a couple of these on the grill, but what I like doing is I like quartering them, cutting down the middle, and just quartering, but just, you don't wanna cut them all the way through. And so what I do is I'll open them up, put salt in the middle, and brings out the zing to it. And then I'm also gonna grill the jalapenos. And so that's sort of the prep of what goes along with, with my beans and stuff like that. And this time right here, I'm gonna get my pan ready, because we're gonna start cooking everything together, then mixing it. I'll throw the chops on the grill, because the grill is almost ready, and we'll get this thing all together and we'll see how the outcome is. But I'll tell you right now that I love also grilling a lot of vegetables. I throw a couple of these onions on there on the grill also. And people are always saying, wow, Johnny, you're always eating meat. But they don't realize that, you know, I'm also throwing all these vegetables, you know, in conjunction with that meat. So, you know, when we put it all together, you'll see the different vegetables, meat combinations, and so forth. Okay, here we are. We're ready to put this thing together. Beans they should be almost there. So by the time we finish, the beans should be done. So what I'm going to do is just throw a little bit of oil in here. It doesn't really matter what kind of oil you throw in there. We're going to start off with the bacon and the chorizo. So basically all we want to do is we always start with the meats. So we have the bacon in there. And I also like to do, see, this is the pork that on the trails the charros would take with them, salted, you know, pork. And, you know, in those days they salted their meats and they would last forever. And this is what they would throw in the beans, you know, the salted pork. So that's what I have right here, along with my bacon. And I'm just gonna let that sort of grill up. And I'm probably gonna put two packs of these. I found a place that actually has them already packaged, to be cut up and everything. So you can just buy them already ready to go. And just throw them in. Saves you some time. And you know, I have some friends asked me the question, well, what kind of bacon? You know what? That's up to you. Whatever bacon, there's you know, bacon with like molasses or marbles, all this other stuff. But whatever bacon that you would like to use, it's up to you. So as soon as that gets going, then I'm going to be throwing in my chorizo. One thing about chorizo is that you always want to make sure that the skin is off as you throw it in. But I'm going to let this cook just a little bit more. And some of my friends, they said, well, do I ever like put sort of salsa or you know, make it hot and stuff like that? Well, we all know that, you know, the charros, you know, they love spices. So we are going to add some spice. We are going to put some spices in here. Maybe I cut up a jalapeno, I'll be adding that. I'm also going to be throwing in a sereno, and then also maybe another type of chili in there. Sausage. Just any kind of sausage that you want to throw in. You know, I like throwing in sort of like a turkey sausage. You know, give it the flavor. And then I do got, you know, throw in a couple hot wings. And you cook this out down, let this cook in. So right now what's happening is the flavors are moving in together. So I haven't thrown any of my onions, tomatoes. I got a jalapeno cut up. So I'm just gonna wait till the meat cooks first before I start adding, you know, I'll be adding the garlic, you know, and with all this flavor, oh man, it comes out really good. Now, one thing about the charros, you know, like I said, my grandfather was a charro, and basically a charro is a cowboy, you know, if you ever looked at a regular cowboy, how when he drove the cattle from point A to point B, you know, they lived on the ground. among the cows and so forth. That was their profit. So they wouldn't eat beef. You don't want to eat their profit. So what they would end up doing is, this was the food that they would eat. A lot of it was pork. And then maybe, once in a while they'd kill a deer or something and add deer. So they would put whatever was out there into, mixed with the beans. And, every night when it came, when it was time to eat, the wagon master, he would basically throw something together by just slapping it, all together. So that's basically what I'm doing is I'm sort of slapping things together, but also giving it a good flavor. So, without the flavor, it's nothing. So when I finally finish, and you're gonna see all the ingredients that have gone into this, plus, with the combination with the beans and all that. Plus, I have bonuses, which I'm gonna throw the lamb chops. Got a couple of corns grilling right now. Oh man, you're talking about a feast. When I was in the service, and I remember the days that you would look forward to eating at night because that was your only hot meal of the day. So this meal right here was very, very important to the Charros. This would, just sort of bring them back, give them that energy, that they needed for the next day. So, and that's basically what I'm trying to recreate is that food that gave them back the energy for the next day. Because the next day they had to do it all over again. And sometimes they'd be on the trail for months, moving these cattle. I never really got to meet my grandfather to hear his stories, but I know he lived sort of a rough life, and the work that he did, it was pretty hard. But just to do this remembrance of the Charros and what they went through, and then getting to taste it, oh man, it means a lot. So I'm about to add these onions right now, and then the tomatoes, some tomato sauce, a little bit of tomato paste, some cilantro, garlic, and then it's going to be coming together. Then I'll throw those chops back on the grill. And I use two kinds of onions. I like the white, and then of course you got the red. And then I'm going to let that sort of cook. Get some sweat. And then I'll be adding my tomatoes, a little bit of cilantro, a couple of leaves of basil, and then my sauce. My sauce is last. So I'm going to throw my serrano in there. I'm going to sort of poke it. I'm not going to cut it, I'm just poking it. And then I'm going to throw it along with the rest of the stuff. Now I'm going to be throwing in my tomato and my jalapeno. Couple of leaves of basil. And you can use the dry, but I like using the fresh. And cilantro, you can use cilantro afterwards, but I like putting it in now. So what we're going to do right now is we're probably going to be going to the grill and throwing the chops on, lower the heat a little, getting the tomato sauce ready. And matter of fact, I'm throwing the tomato sauce right now. Now this is the time I'll be adding some more my seasoning. Not that it probably doesn't need it, but I always use Johnny seasoning. And we got so much flavor in this thing. Now we're going to the grill. So let's go on to the grill and throw everything on that. So here we are with the grill. I have a Traeger. I love the Traegers. They smoke the food really good. So like I said, we got my corn being roasted right now. I'm gonna throw my jalapenos. Okay, I'm gonna throw my onions. Okay, throw my tamales. Right now, I'm going to go get the chops. So we'll go get the chops. We'll throw them in there. And your corn, just rotate them. Close it up. It'll go to work.
Go ahead.
I'm going to transfer everything into a bigger pot because I'm going to be adding my beans to it. Okay. My beans are ready, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to scoop them and put them in there. And then I'm going to add a little bit of butter in there. So this is going to continue to cook, and now I'm going to focus on my chops and everything else that I got going out there. But I'm going to sample it just to see where I'm at. It is good. This is the final production here of the plate. We got our beans, we got our bread, we have the, look at the chops, you know, the nopales, you know, the onion, you know, we have everything, the chives, I mean the queso or the crema mexicano. I mean, this is the plate that the goal has been reached, because this is the plate that we're trying to reach right here. Now this is easy. It's easy to make. All you gotta do is just put your ideas on paper and just go to work at it. This is fun. So this is what we're aiming at. We've achieved this, and I tell you, any Mexican cowboy would love this dish right here. So this is the General. I'm signing off, but I will leave you with this: is that when you've done a hard work, any type of hard work builds an appetite. When you come home to something like this, it makes it all worthwhile. You know, the Charros in the days, you know, they worked hard. You know, so this is what they look forward to. Maybe not as not like this, but something similar. You know, some people, you know, don't appreciate food, but you know what? I do. And I love making it, and I love creating it, and it's sort of like an art. And anybody can do this. It's simple. And I'm not a you know, a master chef or anything. I'm a claimed grill master, but that's all I am, and I just love to cook. So I'll leave you with that until we cook again. The General says adios.